understand who is in the house. Then now when we do the Q&A, you'll know what to ask. I'll do a bit of the, there'll be that interactive session when I'm talking about full circle of life. Then I will open it to the floor. So, because I'm sure everyone has a question or that one thing that they've wanted to ask in a long time, all right? So let's start with Maggie.
Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. That's much better. So I like going by Maggie, but my long name's Margaret Waithera Kimani. Proudly Kenyan, very proudly an impactor. I believe that I was born for a purpose. So my day job, like I mentioned, yes, I'm a banker, but I think I'm a banker who is called in very weird ways. I'm a mentor. I'm an inspirational speaker. I'm mentoring students, young souls, I call them, globally, because I'm a product of education. And if I can just very quickly summarize that I was born, like one of the speakers said, I was born to two parents who are farmers, very proudly from some place called, small place called Gatanga, in Thika. Past Blue Post, you go in and yeah. So for me, my parents believed in education, yeah? But unfortunately, they didn't have any basic education. I think my dad doesn't know whether he dropped out of class 2 or 3. And my late mother, part of the reason I actually came back home is because my mother passed on. I'm an investment banker by training, but I'm so passionate. I think God slapped me. I studied banking. I was from Wall Street in Boston. But I resigned and came back home with no job because I believe that I'm also a daredevil, I'm such a risk taker. But not too many people can do that. So when my mom passed on, having been educated, you know, I'm a fourth born and people always look at me and say, are you a firstborn? And I usually think to like, come on now, I'm a fourth born. But that's not even the point. The point of the matter is that I was born in this family which did not have much education, but my parents would sacrifice anything. Remember, they are farmers, eh? Small, we have a very small shamba, I think the size of Kempiski. Can you imagine? My dad grows tea on one corner and, what do you say, tea, coffee. We have vegetables in the same shamba, size of Kempiski. So my parents sacrificed every single little thing. They didn't know mentorship. And I think that's why God called me into mentorship. Yeah, in fact, most people when they come to the bank, they think, hey, I thought you work in the media. I thought you work in the slum. I thought you're in education. Because my giving back, my aspect of giving back is because, and also impacting, is because had my parents known mentorship, the only mentorship they knew was go to school, get 1, 2, 3. In fact, if you got a number 2 and 3, you would have some case to answer. And you know now kids are closed there. So when we close school, I think if you got a number 2, you would be in so much trouble. So that's the mentorship I got. And I think when God called me, he's been calling me over the years when I was in Boston. But when my mom passed on, that was it. So I started preparing my journey for coming back home. And it takes a lot of guts. And back to the topic of the day, I think which we'll be discussing is, getting out of your comfort zone. I'm that person. In my area of influence, like I mentioned, I'm in charge in the bank. I work for State Bank of Mauritius now for the last 1 year. But I'm in charge of women and youth. Again, this position, I'm in business development. This position was given to me just because of the work I'm doing in the community. Because I think I disclose everything I do. And I think I'm an open page. For me, yes, I've heard some speakers talk about not posting. But remember, I mentor people, Kenyans that are in Australia. God has given me that calling because I lived abroad, so I have these networks of young students, young people who follow me. Young people, remember I lived in Nairobi. I live in Nairobi right now. So how do I impact somebody in Kisumu living in Boston? Because I'm known out there. That can also impact because like today I'm here. I might not be able to go to Kisumu and impact somebody there. Yeah, you might not know, we have 47 counties. Counties is like your districts, yeah?
Yes.
So for us, and that's part of the reason God uses me, I use a bit of social media to impact people, to be able to try and inspire people to do something in where you come from. I love what you said about plowing back. As women, and even as we share here, I was recording some things because I want to go back to my office and share with, some people like some pointers. And let me tell you, if you're a student for life, you will always learn. I was sitting there writing notes. when you're talking, when she was talking, when everybody was talking. It's important. In fact, and especially when you want to get out of comfort zone. If you assume you know it all, it's very hard to learn. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. I know there are even more experienced women sitting with us, even on the floor, other than in this high table. But very humbled to be here. I'm glad I love what you're doing, Sylvia. I mean, if I start talking about it, it will be evening, but mad respect to you. I was introduced to her by, sweetheart, you need to stand. Please. I worked with this beautiful lady some years back, still in the bank. And believe it or not, one day, I think a couple months ago, she called me, she said, Maggie, you know how you're crazy about, by the way, I'm crazy, eh? Believe me, everybody. So, you know how you're crazy, you're always doing this community. I mentor young girls. And by the way, even if Alliance called me, and my slum, Korogocho, one of the big slums along Thika Road, if they call me, that is always priority. So she called me and she said, you know how you're crazy, you're doing all these things, there's a lady you must meet. I said, okay. I think I was in a meeting, so I told her, let me call you back. When I called back, when she gave me her number, and I love your follow-up habit, beautiful. And you're going far. So when she called and we finally met, I think 2 days later, I told her, doesn't matter what, how, the resources, or how we will do it. I mean, so Sylvia, I know many people might not, get the chance to tell you, but seriously, as women, I think it was you, and she's left. We were discussing, we were like, let this make this go into Africa or into counties. And I think as women, for a long time, I know I was in charge of diaspora, so women have started handling for the last 2 years, but I've been mentoring women for a long time and youth. For a long time, you hear this crochet when you go to these big summits globally, and people say, women were our own enemies. I refuse that.
Yes.
Do you guys refuse that?
Yes.
Honestly, it's important that we go and pull another younger girl. You go pull your stuff up, go reach out, share this information, because nobody has a monopoly of ideas. But Sylvia, I want to tell you and encourage you as I pass the mic that you can count on us. This is not even for your kid. God is using you to just speak for another woman that might not speak up and fight for some policies that are inclusive. So glad to be here. Okay,
Language. My sign name is that. That's when I'm doing sign language. That's my name. My area of focus today about this topic is the success matrix and work-life balance. So to address work-life balance, I'll just tell you a little about myself, then we'll see whether I balanced it or not. And why I didn't, and some of the challenges. So I'm currently a consultant in the areas of leadership, business, and cross-cultural management, and also teach in university, that is a USIU. Prior to that, I had been in employment for 24 years.
Wow.
In the areas of HR and strategy and business development. And so for the last 11 years, I've been consulting and teaching for the last, within that 11, teaching for 6. Now, the balance, yes. So I am married. I have 2 sons, both married, and I'm a grandmother of 4.
I told you.
So when I look at this topic, I looked at what is success, and if you ask all of us what success is, of course we'll give you different answers. If you ask a graduate today what success is, I think they look at that big car, that corner office, the paycheck, that's success. Toddler is my first baby steps, or my da, you know those first few words. Of course I'm there, so my speech is and if you ask the mentor or the manager of that graduate, success is when you go to them for mentoring, when they're called upon for counsel, when you're impacting the community. To me now, previously, before now, when I was working, success was I'm doing 10 things. I'm doing 10 things. I am so busy. I am reading. I am doing. I know this one, and I'm interacting with this one, and I used to tick off. I write all the things on a paper or on the phone, and I'm so proud of doing 10 things. That was success. Success today is when I am seated and I am feeling good about myself. I'm crawling on the floor with my grandchildren, and I can have a good conversation. I am serving in Rotary, and there is impact. So success is many things, but success does not last. Success, when I left, my last employer was the Nairobi Hospital. While I was there, I was associated to so many things, and I felt powerful. There are all these structures, development, strategy associated to me. And by the time I left, I went out there and I was Salome, formerly of the Nairobi Hospital. It exists. My name had hyphen, not a name, but a place. And then I said, hey, wait a minute. So I worked so hard to build my company, Lincoln Consulting, and then I realized, hey, okay, so that was that, and success goes, success dies, success you don't associate for long. So now, right now, I've been in the consulting firm for 11 years and teaching in the university. So right now, I'm looking at bringing back Salome. Now I became Salome, formerly Nairobi Hospital, Salome, Lincoln Consulting. Now I want Salome, period. So now what I'm looking for is significance. So what is significance? Significance is when I have, that feel, I make somebody feel good, I will be happy, and it's an impact, and that then lasts. Last month, July, I attended the 60th Founders Day of Starehe Boys. I sit on the board of Starehe Girls, so we associate with the boys a lot. So when I was there, I met some of the young men I had introduced. When I was at the hospital, we introduced a program where there's a program that when they finish high school, before they go to university, they would come and intern. They would be finance interns. And so I met a couple of them. So we picked up that conversation on Facebook, and everybody was saying, wow, you did this for me, you did that for me. So here I was coming back now, I'm feeling, yes, I made an impact. So that's sustainable. So for me now, what I'm looking at is significance. Now coming to the topic of work-life balance, does it really exist? I ask myself. And the truth is, one suffers. I don't know, each person has their experience, but I did the university and a postgraduate qualification, then got married, had babies, so that was now family, academics and family. Stayed a few years, actually about 10, went back to do my master's, stepped back and picked the family, and made a couple of other steps, and grew also in the career, went back to school, did my doctorate, and I'm still trying to pick up the family. So it's really sometimes a myth that it's a work-life balance. For me, it's the metrics are, what do I want to do? Success is not a journey, it's not a destination, it's a journey. And sometimes I did forget that the steps, the little milestones, is what I should enjoy, instead of waiting for that finishing line. That each hurdle I go, I should celebrate. Because sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, by the time we are cutting that tape at the finish line, you're exhausted, you don't celebrate. So that's me in a nutshell.
Good morning, no, good afternoon, good after tea. All right, my name is Laimani Bidali, and thank you so much, Sylvia, for putting this together. I appreciate the work that goes behind it, and that you saw it to the very, very finish. And you don't know the life that you impacted. Actually, you have been able to move from success to significance, because there's somebody here one person for whom this will change their life completely. And they're going to be that one person who changes the world. You don't know who they are. So this is amazing. We appreciate. Let's appreciate her and the team behind this. So I've already learned a lot sitting there and seeing the different speakers, and even for me, I've already gained so much by just being here. So I'm the founder of Alabastron Network Trust. This is an organization that is committed to equipping women to move from stuck to a space of significance. How I define myself by 3 S's: spiritual. I'm a deeply spiritual being. I believe that's where I come from. I'm anchored by God, and my relationship with God is very, very important. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I'm always not ashamed to bring Him everywhere where I go. All right, that's very important to me. The second S is a soul. I connect deeply with people who are deeply soulical, who connect the depths of their souls, because I believe that for you to go the highest that you want to go, you have to go as deep as you need to go. And you need to deal with a lot of very deep foundations of your life for you to be able to build the kind of dream that you desire. So that's the second S. And the final S is significance, actually, which is here today. And I'm on the path to significance. It's not a destination, but it's important that we ensure that we are on the right journey. And for me, each of us defines significance in their own terms. No one can tell you this is what it means for you, but I can share with you what it means for me. And for me, it's about living a life of full self-expression, giving other people permission to do the same, and making a contribution. And as a woman, this is very important. Giving myself permission to receive from others. Because women don't even receive help. We are always like, I want to give, I want to give, I want to give. So I enjoy both. I love that balanced kind of exchange. So Sylvia had asked me to speak into this conversation about dropping masks and why do women wear masks. We wear masks to masquerade, isn't it? That's why they are called masks. And why do we feel the need to masquerade? Because we feel that without that mask, I'm not good enough. They will not appreciate me, they will not acknowledge me. I feel a sense of inadequacy, whether it's in my parenting, in my relationships, at work I may feel a sense of incompetence, and I'm always thinking these guys will find out that I have no clue what I'm doing in this position. So therefore, if I wear a hostile, angry mask, no one will come anywhere close to me. So we wear those masks for different reasons, but the danger of, because we've been told to summarize this, the danger of living your life wearing a mask, you're denying the world of you. And the real you is beautiful, is amazing. And yes, we have weaknesses. I too have weaknesses. But the weaknesses that you have they're not a liability. Okay? They're actually a point of strength. And in a sense, they also keep you grounded. Okay? They give you compassion for humanity. And therefore, you should never look at your weaknesses and feel so ashamed about them. It's to give yourself the grace to say, yes, I have this weakness, but I am work in progress. Okay? Then self-awareness becomes so important for you. Because then you become so aware that, this weakness that I have could actually trip me from my greatness. But denying it by covering it up with a mask doesn't make it go away. It's the same as seeing a lion coming your way. Then you think, if I wear a mask of a lion, and this lion and I, we can do 2020, and it just goes scamper, you need to remove your mask and say, hey, it's a lion, and do what you need to do when it's a lion. So acknowledge that you have this thing that you have, but again, also play to your strengths. The other thing I have to say, it's about, as a woman, learning to forgive yourself. Because women are they judge themselves so harshly, and therefore we also then project this on other women. We judge other women very harshly without understanding their journey. Yeah. We want to just look at how she's masqueraded herself and think, who does she think she is? Let me tell you, when someone tells you you're so full of yourself, tell them thank you very much. That's very good. Because who are you supposed to be full of? I can't be full of you, Salome. I can't be full of me. And being full of yourself is not selfish, because I can only give from my overflow.
Exactly.
So if I'm giving from a place of empty, then I'm quite
Empty.
yeah, and I'm giving nothing. So forgive yourself and extend yourself that grace and be okay with who you are and really accept yourself. So you can ask any questions regarding how to take off your mask, because what we do in Alabastron that is so unique is that we just don't give you tips and highlights. We guide you and give you tools on how to. Most of us want to move from a place of being stuck to a place of significance. But how do I do it? Give me practical tools that I can be able to use to make this a reality in my life. And that's possible for all of us here. And the other thing that you need to be able to do is to, full self-expression means let your light shine. If we are all hiding our light, your greatness, then we are living in a very dark world, right? Okay? The reason why we are here is that you have been able to let your light shine, Sylvia. You're allowing yourself permission to shine your light. And so give yourself permission to let your light shine, because your light is unique. And in the Bible it says that when you let your light shine, you're glorifying God who created you. You're saying you did not make a mistake. Look at how bright this light is. So give yourself that permission to let your light shine. So in a nutshell, that is who I am. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Rocky.
I'm Rocky Kantaria. I know Sylvia and Sally through Rotary. I'm an architect and property developer. I also come from a family of bankers, and I just found out that we work opposite each other. But I broke the mold and decided to build instead. So, of course, in any industry, it's full of men. My topic is leadership in a man's world, which is becoming a woman's world, of course. And I mean, to go back to what you said, if you see a lion, be a lioness. Because we shouldn't imitate who men are and try and become who they are. I think we're leaders in our own right, and we should develop leaders, not followers, because we're all on the same side at the end of the day. I saw a lot of stilettos outside, and I think you should use them to your advantage as a woman. Pick them up and put them on, because you can twist a man's arm with some heels on. I'm on a construction site every day. If I go looking like this, everyone does exactly what I say. And it's not even a joke, it's reality. My 4 pillars, personally, are family, business, community, and self. And I believe in boldly go and having a thirst for knowledge, which I really admire about you, Sylvia. I think as an entrepreneur, a mother, and now you're founding this, I think you're absolutely amazing in what you do. Really, congratulations. We for the last 10 years have supported a project called Freedom for Girls, where we donate a year's annual supply to 2,000 girls of sanitary towels. And Sylvia is so supportive. She comes every year for our cocktail. And then after a few years, she said, you know what, that really inspired me, and I'm going to do my own. And you know, going back to the theme of, there was a theme a few years ago in Rotary called Be the Inspiration. And I think that's you. Yeah, be the inspiration.
You are my inspiration.
Well, I'm grateful that I was able to be the inspiration. But I think it's so important for all of us in leadership roles. You don't know who's watching you and who looks up to you. It's really important to be aware that you actually are an inspiration to so many you just don't realize. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I am proud to say that over the last 10 years, with partnerships, we've been able to support 23,000 girls with sanitary pads. So, And you can all do the same. I've seen, somebody else outside doing something similar to us. So thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Let's give them a round of applause. Isn't that a full circle? Anna? So Maggie here, like you had, we clicked like, those women you meet and you sit and you're like, by the way, I was going for a meeting, Like it was a by the way, that time you're like, oh my God, will she agree to see me? Then she's like, yeah, come. Then you start talking. Even the matter of agenda was not touched, eh? That one was forgotten. That's how we clicked. And what brought us together? We both, life threw a spanner in our lives. When we all get our children, we all expect perfect bundle of joy. So when I started talking about myself, then she's like, oh my God! I was talking to her, she had reached out to me on SMS, and in this craziness, I couldn't put her together. The lady I'm trying to get through is the lady who was talking to me about wanting me to host the daughter on my science TV show. Then it's like, oh my God, she's the one. So that's how we discovered that we both have children who are autistic. And that bond just grew from there. Yeah. And the other side of when I'm talking about Enchanted Waters, when I wanted her to talk about it, now this is a question that I would like for her to address later, is like how, as women, when these things get thrown at you, you're not expecting it. It's the unexpected. So where do you go from there? All right? Like when they told you, I like what Laimani has said. Actually, I brought Laimani for you. Yeah. Because, you know why? Yeah. Because one thing, we will just tell stories and interact through that, all right? So that we know like how you can impact someone without even knowing it. Yes, so Maggie cannot forgive herself. I'm now sharing her secret. She cannot forgive herself because, and I don't blame her as a mother, because we all do that. But one thing happened because of our healthcare system. She couldn't tell that the daughter was autistic. They thought the daughter was deaf. So she sanctioned for her daughter to have surgery for an ear when it was not the problem. And that's part of why we are raising awareness about neurodevelopmental disorders. So you can imagine a doctor could not know. In the best hospital, like where you trust, like I'm thinking, I'm going because this is a PhD holder, they must know what they're talking about. Yes. So as parents, we're given that responsibility of taking care of our children, making decisions on our behalf. But then Laimani, how does she forgive herself for that? Okay, because sorry, I've just put you out there.
No, it's fine.
That's what Inner Circle is about. Dr. Sally, I look at and I'm like, oh my God, perfect family, her career, and you're like, guy, am I a failure? Then you remind yourself you're on your own journey. Because you look, when you see those children, all of them are architect, this, hubby is there, the relationship is, picture perfect families. You look at her career, like, doctor, and you're like, what am I not doing? So that's Sally. So Sally, the one thing I was like, I have boys, you have boys. I look at it like, as parents, how do you get to tell and equip your children so that they can raise above, the norm? Because when I look at Muro, the way he embraced himself, am I allowed to talk about, can I step a boundary a bit? Yeah. If he has given me permission, since he's my ambassador. Since he's my ambassador and what I'm championing here. So Moro came to me. Moro is her son, yeah? And he's like, and I love his energy. He comes like, I'm like, okay, wait, what am I dealing? I was not prepared for that energy. Yeah? You've seen what Bradley did. Imagine an adult version. So I'm like, okay, we were there, we are here, I'm like, so I could identify, okay. So I'm like, the last I saw him was at his wedding. I'm like, oh my God, Sally must be so proud, So he came and he confesses to me and he's like, can you imagine I just found out? And I'm like, so I asked him. So what he found out was that he has, all his life, he has lived with ADHD. And he did not know, back again to where we are failing in society, our government rather, in raising awareness, and people need to know. So you can imagine having lived your life without knowing. So what we are doing with Moro, we are talking about doing a tree planting where we will plant trees and remind people that to nurture it, to grow, and still proceeds will go back to Andy Speaks and raise awareness. So if he hadn't told you, that's our secret project. Yeah, so that's what we're doing for his birthday in September. All right. So I look at that and I'm like, how did you go through that without knowing? As a parent, they did not know, and they embraced him. He's an architect, a big shot one at that. Yeah. All right. Now, in life, you go through a journey. Then when I was at my lowest point, lowest when your marriage has broken down, you feel like an envelope. Like, which other bottom do I go to? Like after this, where do I go? Like, show me another, as in, do I dig deeper than this when you've been told there is, etc. After etc meisha. All right? That's the point at which, 3 friends tell me, you should do an alabastron. I'm like, why are you guys pushing me, Like, why are you forcing this thing onto me? So I went for one introduction, second introduction, then I'm like, by the way, we always get excuses, yeah? My excuse was like, can you imagine I have these children? I have to choose between food, going to work, and then you're telling me to pay for something. Are you crazy? Then through that, the last person who told me like, this is a bank, eh? Kinaraki. I want you to do this, because it's always your friend who pushes you, all right? So she's like, this is a bank. Money is sitting here. Go pay. Here is a loan. I'm like, guy, you just put me in debt. I am afraid of loans. I will not lie to you. I am so afraid of loans. But that is how I ended up doing alabastron. And why am I grateful for that? Because that's where I found myself. That was the point at which I understood, this is what is going on with me. This is what I need to cut. This is what I need to build. And I need to start with me. Remember what Pat said. It all starts with you first, before anyone else. So I had to retreat, figure myself out. When people tell you, go figure your ass out. Yes? I had to go and figure my ass out. And by the time I walked out of that program, I tell you, I cut. When Dr. said, you tell them I have to go. I had to do that in my life. Like, tell people like, I gotta check out of this relationship. Like, our time is over, right? So that is what she equipped me in doing. And that's why I wanted her to talk about unmasking. Because when you sit and listen and look at what you're living, are you living for you? Or are you living to show what people want? Are you living the life you want? Or are you living according to, because in life, when you're 18, what are you expected to do?
Get out of your mother's house.
There is expectations. By 20, why are you in your mother's house? By 20, hey, ujaonekaniwa, like, where's the husband? When you get married, what's the next question? Where is the baby? So, we try, and then even after that baby, you still get questions. Hey, where is number 2? Like, society has a lot of expectations of us. All right, in life, and then we try so hard to live according to this line, like a guy, I'm being left behind, and that is where now we try chase success that is not in our line. So I would like for her to just dig a bit on that, like, so how do I place myself so that I know where I'm going to be purposeful or significant, or how do I identify if I'm with a mask or not? And now Raki, when you hear leadership, I was serving, I'm a Rotarian, right? Yeah. Then I am like, Sylvia, you have to be let me try and mimic you a bit. Hi, Sylvia. I might not be close, but like, you're going to be in my boat. I'm like, you're like up there. They're like, expectations have been set. So I'm like, will I manage this, At that time you're trying to figure yourself out, and then I was like, no, they always say you surround yourself with the right people. So I was like, if I sit at her feet, you remember even the lady was like, if I just touch the clock of Jesus, I will be healed. And yeah, I did. Because you see, now I was trying to get to, when you see boss lady, and I'm thinking like, okay, first I went to her office, I first got intimidated, like, I wanted to do architecture at some point in life, Then I find the building of Delta on her floor. Like, I'm like, it has shrunk. I'm like, yes, like, it met me here. And I'm like, Rocky, I'm like, casually, yeah, let me disclose this. And she's like, yeah, we got that one. I'm like, what? I'm like, that is humility at its best, all right? Like, remember what Gita said, you do it, but you do not have to shout at the top. I will not even talk of all the other things that I look at her and I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, and when I was looking at the impact that they do with Heart to Heart Foundation, and you question yourself like, what legacy will I leave? What will people say? Like, what can I account for myself that I did for others? All right, what changed? You can hear 23,000 girls. Wow. As in, you sit here like, guy, me, my neighbor, do I know if they have food? You know, those are the questions you ask yourself. Okay, do I even know if they have food? But they've gone past that. You're looking at such numbers, but you see that takes persistence, not giving up, because that's in 10 years, 10 thereabout, yeah? So that means it is something they did not just do for show and walk away. Yeah. So that's when I admire, I'm like, I have to push through. What she did not say, she's like, okay, top architects, eh? Her logo comes with a +1. So she will tell us what it is. So it's about being the best, even where people don't expect you to be, because we don't have many architect ladies, right? Yeah. And we all say, let me now be a bit, what do we call it? Not stereotypical. No, let me be a bit tribalistic. All right? Because we all expect, if you're in the Indian community, family business, nothing else, right? But she's being her own person. She's a lady and she's following her own dreams. And I'm sure there is family support in that. So that's what I wanted. Like, how did you go? I know I also went and told my dad, you know what, I ain't doing medicine. And I was told, take yourself to school. Wow. You know? And that is what got me here, yes. Because you have to be a fighter. Because now I had to learn, okay. And I thank God my mom was there. She put a seed. Like, you know, when you're told and then you're like, guy, where do I go from here? So she was like, I've just been retrenched. Okay, this is all my savings for your first term. So I was like, she has to be here today. And that was what actually, now I had to work part-time. I was a hawker, by the way, for those who don't know. I was knocking people's offices and like, today we have an offer. Like, what? But you know, that time landlines had become wireless, eh? So that was the in thing. So I'm like, hey, we have a shaver without cables, we have a telephone, a doorbell without, you know, that was the thing. So it's journeys we come from far, but it is about sticking in there even when it is very rough. It is about fighting for what it is that you want to do, where you want to go. But first of all, you have to know where you want to go in the first place, right? So we can reverse that so that we give them time. Well, I think amemaliza kuprocess anaweza. So she's finished processing the question, so we can start back with her. But yeah, that is how I want us to relate. Like how you've known them, I've associated how I know them and how they have been significant in my journey of life, and I want them to impact the same to you. So let's hear from them, right? Thank you. Let's give them another round. Okay, Maggie. When you are told, you know you are expecting a baby girl, you know she was fine and perfect. And then you're told, we are sorry, this is what you have to deal these cards. And apart from that, in your career, you're the one who introduced diaspora banking, all right? So how do you get to do that thing that people haven't done and still be able to deliver? Yeah?
Thank you. I'll start with the baby question, and I'll try to be very short. Please keep me, I love talking. Yeah. So this, and I'm glad you're here, because I've heard about Alabaster, and I've never had a chance to do it. But back to the question, you know, she asked the question of, so what happened? We got, I think some of you that know our baby, she's called Amani, she's now 5. So at 2 years, remember we lived abroad, we were very intentional about coming back home and having a baby in Kenya. So she was born in, I don't think I need to be apologized, she was born in Aga Khan, the private wing. Beautiful, everything happened, I did not have surgery. Up to date, I've never had surgery. So even during pregnancy, the 9th month, I walked everywhere. Because women tell you, oh, you walk, the baby will just shook up. Just shook up. Yeah. So anyway, born normal. No sign, no single sign. Even now when you see her, until you see her, okay, maybe sometimes the Americans usually tell me if you were born in America, I think you would be I'm a hyper child. If I can use that word, I'm learning ADD and all this. I'm a hyper baby. I think Sylvia, you'll agree, yeah? Everyone, in fact, when I'm on leave, I think most people will usually comment, this place is dead. Anyway, long story short. So I usually feel maybe like your son, and it's nice to meet you. Your son, perhaps, I think some of us, if we were born somewhere else, they would have diagnosed it earlier. Because I have that. I mean, I sit here, I'm thinking 10 ideas already. Innovation, and I'm that pioneer innovator. Anyway, long story short, the baby was born perfectly fine. Even now when you see her, until you see her hyperness, you will never know. Anyway, at I would say 2.5, because she's a lone kid and we travel quite a bit, we put her in, how do you call it, a kindergarten, just in the estate. And when she was there, it's when all of a sudden when she's watching TV, we see she's, I don't know if some mothers, maybe the young ones, you see she blocked. But funny enough, even when you call her, I thought she was snobbish. I'm like, none of us is snobbish. When you call her, she's called Amani. We call her peace of God, Amani. So when you call her, sometimes she'll be, is it called selective?
Yeah, it's called
selective.
Selective.
As in she'll just lenga you, snob you, as in she can hear. So I knew something is wrong. So we went to the pediatrician. Remember now we've moved here physically, because I relocated with no job, I just resigned. So we've relocated here, I'm working, I'm diaspora. So my mission was like I would be the missionary to go different countries. This week I'll be whatever. So we've relocated here. So anyway, where do we go? So we go to a local pediatrician. It's not like we took her to Boston. Local pediatrician, he's been, we never missed a jab. Moms, you know those jabs, eh? I'm a new mom, so I don't have another child, so I only know what I know. So those jabs where the doctor tells you in 5 months, polio, whatever, I'm that freak, detail freak, never missed any. So anyway, long story short, we go back to the pediatrician, he checks, we never missed, the weight has been okay, she's not very heavy, but she was okay. I mean, all her vital signs since birth, she's been okay. Long story short, so he refers us, he said, this thing of blocking her ears, let's refer you to hearing, it's called what? ENT. So we go to ENT, and I'll try to very fast track. So we go to ENT, long story short, guess what? The ENT immediately did a test, a simple test. He said, this one, I'll refer you. And please allow me to use name because this is something I'm championing. We were just the other day in National Council. There are things we must, I don't know, Sylvia, God need to break open door. There are things we must champion for, because can you imagine if, we were referred to go to CDC, the Child Developmental Center in Gertrude's Hospital. And you know me in my Googling and my researching, once you're sent to Gertrude, even when my American friends come to Kenya, you're telling them to get insurance, you usually tell them for your baby, make sure you have a cover for certain hospitals. And by the way, guys, I think as not just women, as leaders, wherever, I always say, wherever God puts you, let me tell you, it's not for you. I'm in the bank, I'm not there for me. I'm there to impact. Can you imagine when you come to my office and I misadvise you? What does that to do even to God? Is it right? Anyway, long story short, we were referred, long story short, we were diagnosed. They did a ear test. It's something like put an ear, some little gadget. And long story short, they just mentioned that the baby, Amani has a liquid in, I guess there's the outer, the middle, and the one that touches the brain. So in the middle ear, he said that the doctor, these are the words, and this is a very old mzee. If I can say his name, perhaps I need to. Because my God now, out of this diagnosis, God is telling me, please do not allow another mother, because this diagnosis, I know her and I are in certain groups, we are realizing every day that every single day, there are more than 2 mothers who are actually signing like me. I mean, I need to, I've started forgiving myself, but sometimes when I remember that I was so foolish, because I don't know a better word as a mom, to sign for money to be operated. They said that there's a small middle ear liquid that needs to be removed, and if it's, in fact, he threatened, because I was the only one in the country then, so you know how you ask your spouse to also sign, wait or second opinion. He threatened, he said, by the way, we do this every day, it's safe, and in case you're doubting, if you don't do it, your baby has a chance of becoming deaf. Wow. Now, do you remember, I was going to the hospital thinking she's deaf already. because I don't understand, okay, from my little understanding, I've never seen that somebody can hear, but she's not responding. You know, the snobbish behavior. Long story short, so we've been in the journey. So she, after the diagnosis, after the surgery, so the following day, after even going around different clinics and checking, is it true? Is it? They show you. And in fact, they also did a test on me. I remember I was with my nanny that day. She said, look, your ear looks like this. They put the same gadget, and this is your baby's ear. You know those two graphs? Anyway, long story short, fast forward. After the surgery, Amani had to go through therapy. And let me tell you, our hospitals, any mother here, if you have please pray for our hospital. It's a miracle, but we're not gonna just pray. We need to actually change and even expose these things. Even if it's in banking, whatever sector, we need to expose things, because guess what? Tomorrow somebody will give birth and they will go through the same. Long story short, so God over the years, like I said, I mentor in education. The part thing, we've done quite a few projects which I don't want to do, but for me it's all about a legacy, impact, touching another life. But over the years, the last 1 or 2 years, God has been calling me. As much as Amani, when you see her, you see she's normal. She has a bit of delayed speech, though it's coming along. She goes to a normal school. Everything about her is normal. In fact, we've realized that she has a talent in music, which is a blessing. And back to my point at the beginning, you know, and I think part of what you asked me to talk about, you know, it's almost like, and I say this with a lot of humor in it, I joke about it. I think because I'm very vocal, like in diaspora, what she was saying. So when I came back, Chase Bank had asked me to start the diaspora department. They had started and failed many times. Yeah, so because I'm a vocal person, I was able to impact the diaspora policy. You know now, when I came back home, we could not be dual citizens. Now Kenyans can. We could not vote, diaspora policy. And I thank Amina Mohammed, we don't celebrate her enough. Yeah, regardless of what has happened. There are women who are doing things and we don't celebrate. Anyway, because of that, I thank God, because I'm very vocal. I'm usually that, you know, the one that sacrifices. At some point I even thought, I think sometimes, you know, it can get, especially in Kenya where you're not supposed to critique. Yeah, constructive criticism does not exist. So because I'm very vocal, I feel like God had to give me a money, and we had to go through the surgery so that we can help other women that are going through this the same day. And I know you're doing a similar thing. And I think the first day when we met, I was like, what? There's not a crazy lady like me out there. I feel like God perhaps gave me this opportunity to also speak for the mothers who are locking their kids, you know, in their houses. As much as we are doing this initiative in Nairobi, I'm involved heavily in the inclusion of education right now. Even in the bank, I know the bank has given me this women and youth. But I'm telling the bank, and in fact we've started the last 6 months, we are saying, there is also marginalized people living with disability. And I don't know your name. What is your name? And this is obviously, when I walked in and I saw her signing, I was like, God bless you. And God bless you for thinking about it. Because you know, it's funny. You guys, I know most of you here in this room, you're well traveled. You know when you travel, at the very bare minimum, and this is something we're implementing in the bank. You know, in the bank, we usually have this handicap parking. But guess who uses it? Let's be honest. Who uses? Me with my two flats there, maybe I'm overshopped and I push the cart wheel, and maybe I even park there and tell the soldier, please, please. So after our baby was diagnosed, it's almost like when you're hungry. You know, when you're hungry, you notice every McDonald's, KFC. But when you're not hungry, you never even see them. You just see the highway. So God has, I think, called me and put this burden in me. As much as I think the forgiveness part is something I need to deal with. But for me, I talk about it. But I do not talk about it for sympathy. Like in the bank when Amani had surgery, every morning, believe it or not, I used to drive to Gertrude. Every morning, even if I had a 9 o'clock meeting, I would make sure that I sit in therapy. They do some sensory integration. I will sit in those. So I don't talk about it to have sympathy, like my employer saying, oh, you have a kid with a special disability, so leave at 3. No. I believe that you, as a woman, I think the balance, God gives you strength. And I think God also gives you grace. But more importantly, there are many policies we are changing. Inclusion, not even just, even in schools, the education policy, But I feel for me that it's a calling. It's probably, I've been mentoring in normal schools. Now I'm very heavily involved in the, special schools. I thank God for her because last Saturday, Sunday, when her son's birthday was, what is it called? He was turning 9, and we went to, let me tell you guys, there's something about when you go to the community and you thought your kid is worse. And this, over the years, I've been doing charity work for a long time. Whenever you go even to girls who probably have dropped out of school and you talk to them, do you feel that your problem in work is nothing? So she took us, I didn't know there's this school that exists. What is it called?
Total Rehab.
Total Rehab, it's in Kasarani. And the population there are people living with
cerebral palsy and
quite
autism.
serious condition. And let me tell you, when they saw us and you could see her sons playing, I brought my daughter, it was amazing. So I encourage what a lot of us, I think we are, that's the thing that holds us together, that is in common, because it's not always about you. And success for me, by the way, I think I feel that for me, success is always that how many people have I impacted? Because you see, she will impact me, and I impact her, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And the ecosystem, everyone is happy. And I think that's why God created us. So yeah, I'm dealing with the healing part. It's a journey. Yeah.
Tell us, when we are raising our children as parents, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're the father or the mother. How do you get to impact the child and mold them so that they're the best of who they can be, despite their difference? All right? In this state, for you did not know, but you raised him, and he's turned out great. So you focused on his ability, right? Can you imagine if you had known earlier? Would that have changed your perception? Would you be looking at yourself like, oh yeah, my baby, Or would you still have just thrown him in the deep waters like, swim and, be the best that you can be?
You're quite admirable in what you do, and giving strength and making some of these topics really just easy and almost, you can say, natural to speak to. Now, when you have little children, of course, like I said, in success, there are standards, or there is what you look up to. And all you want in the beginning is, so there are some standards you want. You've seen maybe other children, that's what you want. And in my case, first of all, was the school. I did my professional exams at Strathmore. That time it was just Strathmore College, not the university, in the Lavington campus. So half the time I'd be daydreaming, looking out of the window, seeing these orderly boys walking, and I'd say, So actually, of course, I took my sons to Strathmore because you have these standards. So you've spoken to knowing about ADHD. It's new. It's this year. My son turns 30, and so we quite haven't.
I know you haven't even had time to actually take it.
So he also is dealing with it. But so I could say that has not been a factor. Simply, all those years we didn't know. So you are just looking at your children growing. They go to the school, they do well. Then next is university, they do well. So what is next? Now you keep checking. So I think the key thing is defining success for them step by step. So at this stage, what is success? Success is interacting with like-minded. And I'm so glad that he sought you out. I think he did. He sought you out himself. So the difference between me and you is you can speak about your child. Your child is how old? Mine is 5. Right. Mine is turning 30. That's an adult, independent, will speak for himself. And like I was asking Sylvia, do you have permission? We have permission to talk about it, but once we understand, it is, what's ADHD? It's, you see that I'm not even sure I fully, not the definition, not the definition of the acronym, But you see your child always at the top. In my case, it is top of the class, like you're saying, always the one, the leader, and all that. So there's nothing wrong with that.
And very normal looking.
Yeah, so there's nothing you see. So when you are told that you're asking the therapist, are you sure? And that's a problem. Is that a problem? And so that's what I'm saying, we're still figuring out what that is. So I can't speak to would it, we were not aware, so we just brought up the way we could have. But of course, at the back of the mind, there's a question of, okay, was I paying attention? Should I have queried some of the behavior? My son was very outgoing. He'd say anything. I remember one time we went out and you want to kick him.
Keep quiet.
Because but it's sort of like honesty. And so do you tell your child you don't speak the truth?
Or don't speak up.
Or don't speak up. So it was like, okay, what you have to do is moderation. It's good to speak yourself, to speak and say everything, but you can't tell them, don't say that. Because what they're saying is not wrong. It's the truth. Like one time we're somewhere in some adult, well, our age mate was saying something, and he just says, that's not true. It's not possible. And of course, to us, that was a fact. But so it's like ask yourself: how would I have dealt with that? Was that a signal? But you can't. So the awareness is very important, and without awareness, we leave. We're talking about inclusion, so I've just caught myself there with the word I was going to use. So you find that we move sometimes almost on autopilot, looking at other success factors. What is it that we are measuring? But with the awareness, we'll change our indicators. What is it now I look out for, and what do you do about it? Because there's knowing, and then there's what to do. Yeah. So that's yeah.
It is when you get a label. All right. Once you get that label, we try and then define the person using that label. And I'd like to encourage Dr. that it does not change who he was. It does not make him any less a human being. It does not lessen all these bright things, all these achievements that he has been able to do. He is still the same child that you loved and had before. All these signs and symptoms, so yes, autistics actually are very blunt. They're the ones we always caution you. Don't tell them a secret. We did, but don't say we did. They'll just tell you, Apana, that is what we did. Or they'll go and report like, we did this, but then he said, we should not say that. Because that's just who they are. They're just honest and pure, okay? Yes, Laimani. What was the next? Like, how do I know what my purpose is? Am I wearing a mask? Am I being true to myself? All right? Am I walking my journey, or am I aligning myself to world's chronicles, what the society wants? Right?
I'm going to have to give you a tool, 10 ways to discover that you're not being true to yourself. You all know. So that's easy because you live with yourself and know what it's like to wake up every day and look in the mirror and not like the woman that you are becoming or the person that you have become because of just conforming to the pressures of society, what other people think you should be or who other people think you ought to be. Okay, so that's an easy one because you know. And there's the other thing about, I talked about soul, and I said to you that I like to go as deep and as high as I want to go. And the thing about not being true to yourself is that your soul is disquieted. You're not at peace. There's a restlessness there that tells you it is not well with my soul. I may be very successful according to the metrics the society uses. And people may be saying you're very successful, you're amazing. What else do you want? What are you missing? In fact, you feel guilty for feeling restless. You feel like you're being ungrateful. Because when people tell you have so much going for you, but in your soul you know, I'm not at peace, this is not it, I'm not okay. So that one is for you to know, and you know it already. You know it, even as you listen to me talk right now, you know it already. So the question is, what do you do about it? Okay? So first you're saying, how do you know that you're wearing a mask? You would know, because mask is just that disquietness will tell you, this is not who I am. And for a very long time, I wore many masks. And what I was covering was just a sense of shame, guilt, feeling a sense of inadequacy. When I compare myself with others, and then some of my peers at the time, feeling even jealous. You know, when you're jealous, you can also wear a mask to keep up with these Joneses. You're like, even me, I'm a Jones, you know? So trying to keep up that, and then it's costing you everything that you have. For them, they're doing it because that's who they are. They're just showing up with ease. They're gliding. You're this, what shall I say? You're this crocodile that's trying to climb a tree or trying to fly because you want to be with the eagles there. But yet, for you, you are created to be. You can only become more of the crocodile that you are. So it's So just it's about just being knowing that, and then asking yourself, what am I masking? And you can't deal with something that you will not acknowledge. So because that thing that you're masking, whether it's shame and embarrassment and fear, the more you mask it, the more it continues to grow. It eats you up. Okay, and it just grows and grows, and then the stronger it grows and it starts cracking the mask, the mask starts cracking, okay? It starts falling off and all of that. The stronger the mask you feel you have to wear, until finally there's so little of you, you're looking at the world through some thin lenses, you're squinting to see where your dreams were once, because the mask has become too strong. So I'll say to you that it's to ask yourself, what am I masking? And then let me deal with this. Where is this shame coming from? You go back to the roots. And that's why I told you that my motto is deeper for higher. That means go deeper. In order for you to go higher, go deeper. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? And then heal that root where it's coming from. Our parents are very strong voices in our lives. If there's a parent who told you you're not good enough, or you are a mistake, you'll walk through life like a mistake, okay? Or you walk trying to prove to other people that you are not a mistake, which way, the fuel ain't right. You're going to run out of it. Eventually you get tired of trying to prove yourself, and you're like, I've had it. And then that's enough people call you different labels, the B word comes in. But they don't know the journey. That's why I told you, before you judge another woman, please understand what her journey is. Seek to understand where she's coming from. When it comes to the question about purpose, again, I can't give you a quick fix right now. I can only just give you pointers. When you look, there are two things that point you to your purpose. One of them may appear to be negative society. There are things that really disgust you. The state of affairs. You look at it, you're like, why is this happening? Really? Why don't we have policies? What is this now? What are people doing? Okay, we can be walking in the streets and you and I see a hungry child. For me, I would just be like, let's just give them bread for the day. But when you go home, you're so angry. You're like, me, I can't believe. What is happening? I mean, how can this be? How can we live like this? I wonder where I am going. Me, I wonder what is happening to my life. I'm wondering what I'm going to do today. Then in the office, half the time you're wondering, I'm wondering what to work on first. What do I work on first? Do you wonder about where to start? Now, that is what that's called the wandering wilderness. So to come out of that, to get into your true north, you have to have very deep conversations and honest conversations with yourself. And when you guys are talking about these children, one thing I'm loving about them is they have no filters, they have no masks. And the world's not able to deal with not having masks. You're like, how do we get them to wear filters? But really, that's the way life is supposed to be. Just speak your truth. You know, and that's what they do. Then we're like, no, you don't say like that. There is a way to say. So we are telling them this is how you filter. But we are children of the Most High God. And if you're living in the truth of who He is is amazing and wonderful, and you're a mirror image of who He is. So we shouldn't be masking. If you're not telling the truth, why not just call it out and tell you, actually, that's not true. Why can't you deal with that? You know, why not deal with that? And even for us, we need to call ourselves out. You know, and stop wearing filters with ourselves, because we told so many lies until we ourselves have started to lie to ourselves. We can't tell what the truth was anymore. Okay? So it reminds me of this, I think there's a series called Suits, where this guy lied about his qualification. And then he had to keep up the lie. You have to keep lying more and more to cover the other lie. So that's what happens. So just tell yourself the truth. I am passionate about this. And then I will say, you have heard this before, and I'll say it again. There's no other way to say it. Do it afraid. Feel the fear and do it. Yeah, do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. The fear never goes away. And when you start to take the steps to in spite or despite of the future, or whichever word you prefer, you gain the confidence and the fear begins to diminish. Okay? So don't make decisions that are fear-based. Let them be driven by what are you passionate about? What have you seen in society which you're like, this cannot be happening in my watch? Or what have you seen that you're like, I would really want to make life just much more beautiful. That's my purpose. There's nothing wrong with that. The beauty of life is also a great thing. All right? So that's the way I would answer that.
Good. I always says in his class that is called a B-hug, right? And I'd like for him to just expound on that because like Manny just touched on it. Then at least let's hear from him. Let's give it up for James Carondo.
Thank you. Still amazed. I'm still writing notes. I'm almost finishing my notebook. This has been truly a momentous event. And sometimes people wonder, as mentoring wilderness. My version of that is meandering. When one is what meandering. So when one starts moving in a straight line, then there is clarity. And the only thing that can move you is if there is something big that you have suddenly seen, you've reconnected with something big, and suddenly there's a sense of urgency that I've got to get this moving. And it's always about think big, start small, start now, get moving, get on the road once you get that clarity. And for our friend here, the clarity was in the form of all the various things. Because sometimes we try and push our passion and everything into one vehicle, and truly it can be packed in one vehicle. So the clarity then is usually about the various vehicle and the various things that you need to do. And once you've gotten that, then you are able to move. And it always has to be that. And if it doesn't scare you, then you know it's not it. Absolutely.
That's what I wanted to say. When connecting with fear, if you're not scared enough, then it's not going to be impactful. So it's not the it for you. So every time you're trying to do something, if you're not scared, would think twice. Yeah? So you see, I was almost quitting. Yeah. Yes, Madam Raki.
About finding your true north. For me, your journey is finding your true north. And your destination is authenticity. I think the end is being authentic, and that's what true leadership and legacy is about, is when you've reached that level of authenticity, then you can give back and leave your legacy. Because there's a few phases of leadership, and the last phase is leaving the legacy. You only get there, I think, when you are living your true authentic self. And I think excellence is a habit. It's one, for me, success is excellence. And you only get there with repetition, because we're all actually given the same tools from birth. We're no different, really. Either you have a high IQ or you have a high EQ, but they both work in your favor. You just have to know how to use them. The other thing I would say is that we don't speak up, and I think that's what's wonderful about this platform, is that we suffer in silence, and there are a lot of women out there who are not aware of what these conditions are, and it takes people like us who do know what they are to speak up and educate them to make them aware. So I think it's great what Sylvia's doing, because we do all need to speak up and share and mentor all the women out there who don't know what this is all about. And that's why they get misdiagnosed. So thank you. It's been an honor. Thanks.
That is magnificent. Now we'll take it now to this other side, right? Q&A. That's why I came down Yeah, I want now to bring it back.
You. Yeah. My name is Antoinette. I had introduced myself earlier. I work as a communication specialist, and I'm also a member of the Rotary Club of Tiger. My question is just to pick up on mentorship, and if somebody could comment on how best to utilize your mentors. Sylvia, you've spoken about mentors, and I think you have different mentors. So how do you pick your mentors, and how do you best utilize the mentors at whatever age and stage you are in your career? And then the other question was just to follow up on what Margaret was talking about, forgiveness. And maybe to Alabastran, if you could give us a few tips on how do you then forgive yourself, some of the steps that you deliberately take to forgive yourself. And to Raki, on leadership, when you're experiencing burnout, whether it's from work, it's from trying to juggle so many different things, it's balancing work-life balance, achieving work-life balance. How do you purposefully deal with burnout? Because I think I might be there, and I'm wondering how to get my energies up. Thank you.
Okay, good.
I think that's Amora Kashemba. Sylvia is my former classmate. And why I'm here today, actually, she's shocked. I think so, because I just accidentally just saw a post she had posted about this meeting. Anyway, I'm a physician by profession. I work at the Empisha Hospital, and I'm also a healthcare advocate. So I've been following what she's been doing, and I think it's very noble, Sylvia. Thumbs up. So following up on what I've said, my first question would be, I'm looking at the agenda for Sylvia and what she's trying to do in terms of getting people out there to understand what children with special needs are all about. I feel that you should incorporate some stakeholders, case in reference, people from my side of the society, because I've heard a lot of stories from her about how some things were not done right, and I think those are ills. Being a doctor myself, I think those are things that we need to bring out to improve the healthcare system in our country. And I think I'm open, to actually, I'm also I'm a healthcare advocate, and besides being a physician, and I think it's something that would really make an impact in our society if we involve all the people who are involved in the care of our people, in the care of our children, to be aware and to actively participate in improving care in our country. My other question, I also advocate for work-life balance in the people in my career. I think for us it's a big, big problem. Being a woman, I'm a mother of 2, and I find it so difficult because one time my son asked me, Mommy, today you're home. Is everything okay? And I think, I come back to Salome. Salome, I think you need to talk about this more, and maybe in one of the forums. Right now we're running a program where we're really having healthcare workers learn to balance their lives, because some of the things that will lead to me not being in my right mind to give the right diagnosis and tell you you're going to surgery is maybe because I'm burnt out. I have to have a clear mind to treat another human being with clarity and good care. So I think I love what is going on here, and I think we need to connect the two worlds so that all the issues we have can be addressed appropriately. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Green. My name is right. So right now, whatever I'm going through, there is what I need now. All right? There is that person I am looking up to who I believe will be able to walk with me this journey. Remember, mentorship is not about just listening. It's about working together. And this person might be there. I always say we meet everyone in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So you have to know which part of it is. Because it's been how many years? I was speaking with James in 2015. It's 4 years later. I did a course. When I feel like I need to refer, I refer. It's not like we talk every day, but he still remembers because he made me mission, what I want to do. And I can proudly say this year, I think I've done 90%, right? We gave ourselves 5 years, you see? So it just depends with who and what. If I'm in Rotary, who do I look up to? I look at Gita and I'm like, guy. You know, first woman to do this, first woman to do that. You know, I look at Raki's presidency. I have never seen a meticulous leader. You know that leadership, like, there is no failing. Like, you have to play your role. If you know those of like when I was talking about being associated in the board, then you learn from that, you know. So that is what you look up to. So at that time, this is what I got off of her. She's a very busy lady. I talked to her maybe we've been trying to have coffee for 6 months, you know. But I would call her and I'd be like, okay, this one is it. Then now you deal with that now. That matter of urgency, you see. So everyone plays a different role in your life at different times. I hope that answers that, right? And then you bring. You know, I always say this journey has been set from above. Like sometimes I look at what I have done, and this Speaks has been there from January to now. Looking at what we have managed to do, I cannot even begin to describe. You know, the way everyone asks me, Raki always asks me, how do you do this? I cannot answer that question because I don't know. I can't even explain it. Like her, sometimes I think maybe I have ADHD. There's too much energy, you know. When you do, because I've made it my point to learn, and I've done. I'm doing a diploma, not a diploma. What is that? A certificate in autism and ADHD. So every time you read, you're just seeing yourself, and you're like, hey, Pengine, you know, maybe I have it, and maybe that's the only way I'm able to balance all these things, you know. But you bring, yes, I'm other professionals. No one has ever brought this case forward. So we're having a special needs town hall meeting. So I have Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Youth and Gender and Security. We're having National Council of Persons with Disabilities. I'm having all the parents, and I'm also having all the NGOs that deal with children and children's rights and rights of persons with disabilities.
And parents as well.
The parents, yes. So, and all the caregivers, the teachers, you know, that nanny who cares, that therapist, all these people will be in the same room. And we've said, education, government, what have you done? I'm sure all of you have been seeing a lot of special education, this special education, that. It's because feathers have been ruffled. So something is happening. Because when anyone says disability, what do you think about? Broken hand, wheelchair. So it's not that, it's just that you cannot properly diagnose what you don't know. You see, our doctors, I think you guys do like a 3-hour session on special needs unless you specialize. All right? So what we're pushing for is we want it to be a part of the curriculum. Let them, because who sees your child first? When you give birth, who receives your child? A nurse. And that? What do you call them? A gynecologist, yeah? Obstetrician. And then when you go for clinic, who's checking your child? A nurse. Has this nurse been taught to see that milestones when they're delayed, you're not just being told, every child has their own journey. You see, so those small things are what we're trying to bring out to light, because those, if we have them empowered enough. When we did the cycle for autism, where we were doing awareness from Nairobi to Kisii cycling, do you know only 30% of the doctors we met in 16 counties knew what autism is? So how do we expect them to be the ones to diagnose them? How do we expect them to tell you as a mother, like, I think there is something wrong? And that's why we have so many, in the recent past, because of the awareness that has come, it looks like there is a rise, like, oh God, there is a breakout of autism. No, it's just that there is more awareness. So when we come out, even like when I would say, my son is like this, I get DMs, like, how can you do that? Like, how can you put your children out there? But if I don't do it, who will? Who's going to do it? At least I know 5,000 of the people who follow me know what autism is. They know what ADHD looks like. When I say there is a convulsion, I actually placed a photo, as horrific as it is. But you know, sometimes you say and people are just brushing it off. But until you elaborate and you get to understand, humans is about seeing is believing. So until you put it out there and people grasp, it's the only time they'll be able to help their neighbor and tell that mother, like, hey, your child is not talking, I think you should talk to so-and-so, you see. And that is how even I got to meet Moro, yeah, because I've talked about it, and then that's how he came to me, all right? I get DMs like, oh, I've just been diagnosed, I don't know what to do. I'm not a doctor, but I can offer that support, right? I can try and guide them. I can try to play my small role in that space to help that mother who does not know where to go from here. Yeah, so that's one of the many ways when you're looking at Andy Speaks, that is what we're trying to do. with the stakeholders, which is now the parents, the doctors, and at least having, even through the show that we have on Science TV, that is what it is we're doing. We're educating the public so that people know. We're bringing the doctors to you so that they tell you this is what you look out for. Because not everyone can afford to do it. So if I can bring one here and he can give, he can break it down, and then 10,000 people have heard, at least I have done my part, right? So that is exactly what we do. So we are getting there, slowly but surely.
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance. Now I'm bringing it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Daktari. On the work-life balance, I think the first thing now in hindsight, one of the things we need to find out is, the wheel of life. I think most of us have done the wheel of life, but I think we do it like an academic exercise. So we find out how am I faring on career, family, spiritual, and all those other activities. But I think we genuinely need to, I feel that in all we do, engage with people and activities that add value to your life. And when I say activities, half the time, I think 90%, if not 120%, we are focusing only on what adds value to the career in terms of paycheck, title, qualification. But still in the career, we could look at activities that add value without a paycheck, or a pay increase, or a title. But it adds, it makes you feel satisfied. When I started doing sign language, I interact with the deaf. Every Sunday I go for my church service at 8, then go home, we go home for a brunch, then I go back for the deaf service. I attend the deaf service between 11:30 to 1. And one of the things is just attending. When they come to you and when you're signing and it's like broken English, now there's something that you're signing wrong. But interacting with them, I have learned the sign language and it's perfecting. But I find that I feel it's little. But for them, it is so much. And that satisfaction, it just takes me places. And I've now also learned to accept that there are some little things which for me meant nothing. I should stop that. I shouldn't say, oh, but it's so little. Oh, but that's my work. If it makes an impact to somebody else, if it's important, then it is important, and accept that. Then we are not kind to ourselves. If we can find those activities, now after that wheel, done for yourself, not because somebody asked you. Normally, if this was a talk, we would have said, draw the cycle. Really, let's get rid of that. It's when I find that I need to walk more, I need to sit with a circle of friends who make me feel nice. On Thursday, where I live, we had, I know people know book club. We had a movie night. And we watched a movie, some of you have watched it, Motherhood. It's Motherhood or Otherhood. Otherhood. So we're watching it together with mothers who have sons or children that age. We could share and relate to those challenges, just like pretty much what's happening here. So now I've seen I need to spend a lot of time with people who help me. We are used to helping. You actually neglect yourself and you do things for other people. Our parents are very good at that. They really went out. So we also have to now look in and see, what am I doing for myself? Not for the other. It's good to do things for people, but also what am I doing for myself? When I start doing things for myself, I'll be able to balance. Otherwise, I'm driven by that expectation of society that at this stage, why am I still at the entry level? But if it is for me, I'm at this stage because I'm impacting lives and it's rewarding, and my purpose was to make a difference. I am making a difference. I might get to that rank and I'm not interacting. I'd like to use the example of a bus conductor. The bus conductor, does that, the machine, they'll take the money and they're always interacting with people, and when you do your job well, then they might be promoted to be a supervisor. When you're a supervisor, you go back to the office. So the paycheck has changed. Status has changed, you're in an office, but you see no one. All you're seeing is files and complaints. So you become sad and wondering, why are you sad and you got a promotion? So this person, perhaps on their work life, they were okay because that interaction is their medicine. That's what. So I think for me, it's identify those activities and people that add value to you and learn to enjoy. But it won't just happen. Set time aside. If we have those busy jobs that you have to be at a particular time, then move backwards. You know, sleep is one thing I've learned. It's good, but yes, you can. There's some of it which is excess. So you can plow back and say 1 hour. There are many people who wake up at 4. They have their spiritual hour or hours, exercise, and the others who just listen to something. I mean, you may look that you're zoned out, but that's your moment. That's your moment of listening to yourself and reflecting, and then you have a great day. But we will do that. We will wake up at 4 a.m. to read so that you get that promotion, but I will not wake up to reflect so that I have my peace. So I think for me it is creating that time for me and intentionally agreeing that it is important and I'm enjoying it and it is making a difference. Yet, out there, nobody will see the result. But who wants the result? It is me. So those are that's how I'd look at it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate that. There's a question Antoinette had asked me directly, which has to do with forgiveness. She said if I could just give a few tips to do with forgiveness. Now, how many people here have taken the journey of Alabastron? Hands up, please. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome. So they do. I'm saying this because then they can be able to back it up and you can have a conversation with them individually. The process of forgiveness is actually a process, and that whole process takes, I would say, a total of about 28 to 30 hours of coaching. That because the process of forgiveness is not as easy as let go and move on, which is what society tells you. It's not like that. It's such a deep process, and in fact, the day that we do forgiveness is a full day from 7 a.m. Is that correct? Yeah. To 9 p.m. Yeah. And for there are some sessions where we had to do it overnight because it was that deep. Okay. But just give you a few pointers. Why do we need to forgive? We need to forgive ourselves because of what we did or what we did not do. So the first thing is to acknowledge there's something I did or something I did not do. So stop defending it, stop explaining it, stop excusing it, stop justifying. Just say there is something I did or something I didn't do. Because maybe there's something you didn't do for me, Antoinette. For me, I've forgotten. But every time you see me, you're like, oh my God, you know, I'm the one who's supposed to be, I don't know what for her wedding, and here she comes. You know? So every time you see me, you feel convicted, and yet I'm not even aware of it. We also need to forgive ourselves because of something that we said, out of step, out of line. You know, when you see someone, I didn't mean it like that. Well, please, you know, or something that we didn't say. We should have said thank you, and we didn't. Or we also need to forgive ourselves for a decision that we made. Like in your case, or an indecision. We took too long to make a certain decision, and now we're having to live with the consequences. So first and foremost, to be able to acknowledge what am I forgiving myself for, and acknowledge that, and there, I goofed. Okay? All right? And then check your motive. What was your motive? In your case, imagine, Maggie, your motive was so pure. You were doing what you knew what to do as a mother in the best interests of your child. And you were doing the best that you knew how to do with the information that you had then. Today you know so differently. And it's the late Dr. Maya Angelou who said, when you know better, you know better. You're doing the best that you know how to with what you know now. When you know better, you will do better. So to forgive yourself is to say, you know what, I was doing the best that I can in the best interests of this child in mind with what I knew. And I gave them my best at that moment. Okay? And that gives you a sense of peace. So there was no malice. There was no, evil intent. It was for you the love that you could have given at that particular moment. So you look at your motive, and then once you look at that, you say, you know what? Based on that I did the best that I did with knowing what I knew then. You say, you know what? Therefore, I want to release any feelings of shame and guilt and anxiety I feel about that decision then, because it's that decision then. Okay? I release them because what causes us to, how these events keep eating up at us, it's the emotions that follow them. It is our conscience that really gnaws at us. So it's about releasing the shame, releasing the guilt, releasing the self-blaming, or even, as Lucia said, even blaming the doctor. Because what's blaming the doctor now going to do for your beautiful girl? It doesn't change anything. Okay? So releasing them and saying, I'm not going to blame them anymore. And then finally you say, Lord, give me the grace to accept that this is my new reality. This is my current and new reality. You don't know what you're really, but thank you for the question.
Yes, I have a problem with that one. What I've learnt is I've learnt to say no. Because when you're a giver and you want to help people, it's very easy to keep saying yes and not think about yourself. So I finally have learnt to say no, and you've just got to pick them well. I think you need to prioritize what your pillars are, your priorities. For me, it's family first, then business, then community, then self. And the other thing I found is not to oscillate meetings. So don't have back-to-back meetings. Give yourself a 90-minute break. Between meetings, you'll find you're far more productive. And lastly is to have a daily ritual. I think you must do something every day and repeat it. For me, it's a 10-10-10. So I do 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of reading, and then 10 minutes of journaling. And that really helps me. And I do that every single day. 30 minutes, it's a short time, but you get a lot done. My meditation is about gratitude and purpose. So I do gratitude in the morning and I do purpose in the evening. And that's really helped me to deal with burnout, because you then have a lot of clarity when you start your day. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite that one person who gave me life. You see that one person they call you, run, you don't think twice, yes? My mommy. Stay in, you can do it. Like, no, pray hard. Sometimes I don't balance everything. Prayer work, that's a department. I was like, I need you to just eat.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I don't know where to start, but I'm happy for her, very happy. And I was like, hi, Sylvia, are you going to really make that? But I know, with God, there's nothing which is impossible.
Yes, true.
I usually tell her, when she says, Mommy, I'm down. No, just continue. We pray. Thing happens. That is what I do. I work in a church. I'm a catechist. That's what I do. I deal with the little ones. People want to go to get married. Those ones who have problems in their families. So that is what I do. So I'm really happy for what she's doing. She's creating awareness to people who didn't know what their children have problems, but now she has come out to help so many people. Thank you for what she's doing. I also thank all of you, all the speakers, those ones who came. I've really learned a lot. I've got so many things which I can tell people, those ones who come for me, or some assistance. I have some things which I can give. I also thank Lucia. Yeah, She came all the way from
South Africa.
South Africa to come and assist Sylvia. Thank you very much. Thank you and thank you. And my friend here also, she's from South Africa. There's another. Yeah.
Yes, she came from
South Africa.
From Cape Town.
Thank you so much. I thank you, all of you. God bless you. Continue asking God. Whatever you want to do, God will assist you. If you ask in the morning, just tell God, thank you, Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. That your day will be done. Yeah. In prayer, everything is possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
And those who ask me why I'm not growing big, she's not big. It's genetic. I don't go to the gym. I'm very grateful that I was born of her, and very proud of all the things that she's managed to do, and to just hang in there. You know, the things that I watched her and I'm like, this has to change, you know? And even when I tell her, no, those crazy things, she's my best friend. Even when someone, they're like checking me out, and I'm like, hey, by the way, there is, you know? She's my best friend. So she's my best friend. All the decisions that I want to make, when that time you're not sure what you want to do, I always resound it by her. Aww. And she will pray about it and tell me, I don't think so, or I think you go for it. And then we still keep check of our notes, right? We still go back and take notes like, do you think we made the right decision? So she's an anchor in my life, all right? So let's give it up for Mom. Now, I'd like to say a big thank you. We're like 10 minutes behind, so we're not doing so badly, right? We are badly, but not so badly. So I'd like to say thank you very much. Caxton, do you have something to say as our MC before I do the last bit? Okay. You know, even forgot.
My fellow, I would say, presenter, we work together there, so make sure that you tune in. All right? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Cax. Thank you very much. So we're trying to cheer Cax on in his new venture of doing MC work. Yes. So we're talking of inclusion. That is exactly what we want to do. We embrace each other in our strengths and in our weaknesses. All right. So apart from that, everyone, our sponsors, we all know that sometimes you cannot walk alone, right? You cannot make all the mistakes, neither can you make all the right decisions. You can't be everything. Cynthia?
Yes.
So I would like to acknowledge first and foremost, Madam Lucia, kindly. When she told me I can come, I was like, are you crazy? You know, like, you're saying you come from SA for my event. You know, then you go back and ask God, where? You say, you know, like, did you hear what she said? Like, you know, so I'm like, when I say this journey has been blessed and it's from above, this is an example of it. All right? Like, she's left all the other 40-something contestants to fly out to come to Kenya to support me. So I was like, what is she seeing in me that has made her make such a sacrifice? She paid her own flight, by the way, yeah? It was not sponsored by anyone. She told me, I will sort it out. I will come and walk with you. All right? And that's what women we have to do in life. We have to walk with each other. We have to walk this journey where you see something, hold that person's hand. Walk with them until where you know, this is the far I can take you and I believe you can run from here. All right? I've never done this before in my life. So even I was just telling her, am I going to do it? Am I going to, you know? Like, I don't know what to do. It's something you admire and you're like, oh my God. Then even sometimes you're like, you're told and you're not saying everything. You yourself, you've not even yet come to, you know, like, I Miss Africa. And I'm like, you're listening to yourself, you're like, you know, this was a dream, eh? Those childhood dreams that you never thought would actually come true. But then here we are. And thank you, Lucia. I appreciate it very, very much. And even, I want you to, when you go back, you take this message to Mama Carl. Carl is the founder of Africa Pageants. And like she had explained earlier, it's about giving back to society, being change makers. And she has worked with so many women and change. You know, people. You see why we use the butterfly in Andy Speaks is because of that transformation. We all are a maggot in an area of our lives. But if we walk that journey, if we do what we need to do and put ourselves in the right environment, we will all soar and fly. And you see all those colors? Yes, we all have so many colors. It's just that, are you ready to spread your wing and fly away and let people admire and let people appreciate all the colors that are there in you as a butterfly? So if you can notice that, hey, that maggot is struggling to come out, you know. I've ever seen an egg before the chick hatches. Or even if it's on TV, I know we are Bontaos, not all of us have been able to see, but there are times when a newborn, even when a cow gives birth, the child can't even get up. So it takes the nudge of the parent, all right, for them to walk. So when you're seeing someone struggle, reach out and just be there to walk with them. You never know, you could have done the greatest thing in life. Even being here, it took Saum to get me here, because she's the one who was like, I'll take you here, register. And I'm like, no, I am a mother. You know, we always give the excuses. I had a list, endless list of excuses as to why I cannot do the Miss Africa pageant. But she's the one who actually made sure I talked to the right person, got the right information, and actually we're here. So Edwin, could we say thank you to Mom Lucia? Lucia, can please come join me here on stage. Can you let us welcome her? I'll calm down. Let me just step down a bit. So I'd like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support and for coming all this way. And I hope it was worth your while. Okay, thanks very much.
Actually, it was. I believe all of us, God wants us to be where He wants us to be. And I believe Kenya it is, because every speaker that spoke today, somewhere, somehow, they represented the person that I am. And the mentor, when I was crowned Mrs. Globe, jeez, it took me 4 months to accept that I'm Mrs. Globe. I couldn't take it. So I believe I'm here for my own healing and for my own to move forward. At the same time, to support you, because definitely I do see a young me, although we are not that different, but you are a Lucia in Kenya, while I'm a Lucia in South Africa. I'm driven and I love pushing. I do a whole lot in my community, South Africa, Mozambique, Swaziland, because we're bordering. So continue, don't stop. Even if someone tells you that you cannot, you can, and I've seen it in you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Next, I would like to say thank you to my friend. She flew in today. She told me, Sylvia, I'll be late. Flying all the way from here, and I will make sure that I come. Just say, at least introduce yourself, because you missed the introduction at the very least, and for sitting here through your jet lag, I appreciate it. All right, okay.
I'm Pauline Liru. I'm actually a Kenyan, but I'm a student at Stellenbosch University. Sylvia, I appreciate your work so much. It's a very big achievement in your life, and also in many women's in Africa. What I want to say is that I've been even if I'm here now, I just followed Sylvia on Facebook. I met Sylvia once in December at Village Market in a lift. I just say hi, said hi, and unfortunately I'm unwell because I went into depression, and I thank God because I've been going through therapy. And when I just saw the post on Facebook, I said, I must be here. My mom has also been unwell, so I said, I will come. But before even I see her, I'll have to attend and share with her. And Lucia, We celebrated you at school at Stellenbosch University. Congratulations. Mommy, thank you for encouraging me and for praying for me so much. May God bless you all.
One by one. All right? Because, you know, when you invite people and then people tell you you're being ambitious, James told me if it is not fear, if you're not afraid, then it is not big enough. All right? So every time when I was reaching out, I was like, oh my God. You know how many out of, Anto, how many invites did we send? Like 15. They showed up. Wow. All right? They showed up. The first flyer went out with 4. Okay? The 4 are like instant. You know those ones are like, they are too busy. You just start, just in case they're in the country, you know. And then now the rest kept coming. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. You know, like they just kept coming. And I'd like to say a very big Raki after 6 months. Thank you for coming. So I'd like to start with Dr. Sally. If you could kindly join me here instead, Edu. So today it was about soaring. It was about reaching out to be the best you can be and finding purpose. And that is exactly what we have seen, yes? We have tried to balance our lives. And I'd like for this to be a reminder. Every time you look at it, and every time you've seen Andrew here, know you impacted his future in one way, and the future of our country being changed. Awesome. Pleasure, thank you. Raki, another doctor. Today you had very many in the house, Oh goodness. It has taken a long while, and I always watch it. I'm like, yeah. The people who think I travel, my role models, the real deal, you know. But it's her work. But I'm sure it takes tireless nights. I'm imagining when I wanted to be an architect, I was told 7 years, and I'm like, hell damn no. That is for me, you know. I went for the graphics, so it was like 7, like 1, 2, 3 in school. After I just like, okay, mom, you know what? It's okay. Let me do the other passion that I have, yeah? But deep down, I wanted to be an architect. And so when I see like, because at that time when I consulted, I was told, it's a dying market. And look at where it is. You know? I will forgive myself like in the house, Oh, goodness. It has taken a long while, and I always watch it. I'm like, yeah. The people who think I travel, my role models, the real deal, you know. But it's her work. But I'm sure it takes tireless nights. I'm imagining when I wanted to be an architect, I was told 7 years, and I'm like, hell damn no. That is for me, you know. I went for the graphics because I was like 7, like 1, 2, 3 in school. After I just like, okay, mom, you know what? It's okay. Let me do the other passion that I have, yeah. But deep down, I wanted to be an architect. And so when I see like, because at that time when I consulted, I was told it's a dying market, and look at where it is. You know, I will forgive myself like money for not being an architect. You know, I was told it's a dying market, and now I look and I'm like, God. I would have been, you know? But anyway, I believe I'm where God wanted me to be, right? Doctor, thank you very much. Same thing, put it where it will remind you. I want you to remember that side of we focus on the positive, right? We see the positive of everything that we can be and go for it. That's my theme this year. Go for it. Even when I was writing to the CS of health, I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I know. Yeah, and I got my meeting. When I wrote to the first lady, see, I still got to go to her. You know, when you go to the office, you're like, oh my God. Like, you know, when you receive a letter of acceptance or denial, but it's written first lady's office. I was just like, that's good enough. It can go down history, you know. But I went for it. So Raki for going for it and championing us. Let's just break those boundaries. All right? Thank you, girls. Thank you. All right, let's give her a round. Maggie. Oh, sorry. Our friendship, I think, is 1 month old. But it feels like I've known her for years. And I forgot someone special in my life. And he's the one who's going to present this. This is my first son. All right? His name is Daniel. Stop being shy. His name is Daniel. Daniel has been that husband that I don't have, all right? Don't take it from me. But, you know, when I'm working late, he will wait for me. Are you tired? Take my bag. Those who follow me on Facebook know I receive breakfast in bed every Sunday. Yes. Courtesy of my son. You know, he will wake up, cook it, and deliver it in bed. Even Bradley, the last one you saw, has tried to ape that. You see, what we do, someone else is seeing somewhere. So when he used to help me, now he's in boarding, but he used to wake up, wash dishes, make me. So Bradley is aping that, despite him not being there. You know, and that wanting to help and that being a loving person, because he's seen it from Daniel. Daniel, I appreciate and I love you. And he also advocates in school for neurodevelopmental disabilities. I want you to do me the honors, present that to Maggie. Yes, she's just been hearing of Daniel, so Daniel is here. Well done. All right. Thank you so much. All right, like money. I cannot begin to say thank you now. You know, when every time you talk and then there is one name that you can never leave behind. You know, and every time I meet a lady and I'm like, should I be the one like the ones I received, the ones who always tell you should do. All right? But because of her guidance, I was able to go deep. You know, depths that I didn't know exist. Things that happened when I was 7. She walked with me to that journey. And that's where I found what I need to let go. You know, as in at 7 years, because it's a journey, she said, 30 hours. I think there is plus, because we have homework. You know, those homeworks take 3 hours. You know? And that is how I got to find who Sylvia is, find what is holding Sylvia back, and be strong enough to step out. You know, love me for who I am, accept, and live my own journey. Because you know, you always say, I was walking that like, I'd said by 35 I'd be married with children, I'd have had, then I'm like, look at me now. At 28, things started falling apart. You know, but I'm here now. At that 35 that I expected it to be A, B, C, D, it's not what it is, but it is better. I'm soaring heights I would not have thought I would, you know, because I was given the tools of how to do self-check, or how to know, are you doing service to yourself, to others? Am I being fair to me, my family? And the one greatest thing I'm indebted to you is that thing of put yourself first. You see, when you take time out, you know, when you were born, you had your own name, right? Then you became daughter to, mother to, wife to, you are you. So that is the one thing that I can never forget. And I always tell every woman, in whatever journey, however crazy, you come first. Then everything else follows in life. All right? Thank you, Lemani. And also she's the one who helped me to connect with God, because I had the maze with God. You know, when you go through so much, you're like, guys, am I the forgotten, you know? So she helped me reconnect, and thank you, Laimani. Thank you very much, okay? So, my team. So for my team at the office, of course I cannot do this on my own. Team Tech have kindly stand. That is my support system in the office. You know, when people see you everywhere and then they're like, are you sure you're working? Yes, I'm working because they're working with me. We work as a team. They are here because they believe in what it is that I'm doing. Yeah? Everything has happened because they've been behind me, helped me, worked tirelessly. Edwin left here at midnight. They left the office, I think, at like 10, and they were still here early in the morning just to make sure this dream comes true. I am grateful. That is Maureen. Maureen. Then we have Tony, and we have Edwin. Thank you very much. And as part of Miss Africa, we are doing Dignity Dreams, where we are working on bringing back dignity to girls through supply of sanitary towels. And there is a team that is ably supporting me, or we are supporting each other to make that happen. and that is Angie and Mo. Could you just at least stand and say hi? So Angie and Mo have a company called Sister Speaks, where they exchange heels and give pads, or you buy pads and donate, you get heels, or you do both. You can take both heels and pads, and then someone else will buy it, and there is that exchange. Isn't it a brilliant idea? Yes. Yes, let's give it up to them. And within 3 months, they have. If you see how much they've been able to do in 3 months, I was awestruck, to say the least, and that was quite brilliant. Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to be part of what it is that you're doing. I hear our lunch needs to get served like now. Am I allowed to end it there? Yes. Yes? And say thank you for everyone who came today. Thank you for your time. And in whichever way you have crossed my life, no, it is not for naught. All right? There is a reason. Christine, Super Mamas. When I was having, you're a girl, but then everyone thinks that those children are your brothers and sisters. She was there. You're so tiny, you don't even look like a mother. Because life knocks you down to a point. But I'd like to say thank you very much for all those who believed in me, for all those who are working with me and walking with me, and may we have more of this. All right? Hallelujah. All right. So now, since we didn't start with the word of prayer, at least can we end with it? Yes. At the bare minimum. Yes, Paxton, you have something?
Yes. So as we go after the prayer, we're going to have meal vouchers. You will collect them at the
times 13. Wow. I become a teenager tomorrow. We can just take 30 seconds and sing for him happy birthday. Yeah. All right. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daniel. Happy birthday to you. Finally, I'm a mother of a teenager.
Okay, we pray for a minute. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. God our Father, I thank you, I praise you, I glorify your name. Father, our lunch is ready as we're going to take. Bless it, guide it, let it be a blessing in our bodies. In the mighty name I pray and trust. Amen. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
It's okay, it's okay.
I know. I was like, you Professor, let's get it.
Guide him, let it be a blessing in our